ring. وَكَانَ أَشَدُّهُ عَلَيْهِ فَيَلْتَبِسُ بِهِ الْمَلَكُ. That was the hardest one to the Prophet ﷺ, hardest way to receive the message. He says, حَتَّى أَنَّ جَبِينَهُ لَيَتَصَفَّدُ عَرَقًا فِي الْيَوْمِ الشَّدِيدِ الْبَرَدِ. Sometimes in a very cold day, the wahi will come in that form, in a bear-like way, and the Prophet ﷺ will have sweat on his face while the day is really cold. Everybody is cheering for cold, and he is sweating because of the hardness of the message that's coming to him sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَحَتَّى أَنَّ رَاحِلَتَهُ لَتَبْرُكُ بِهِ إِلَى الْأَرْضِ إِذَا كَانَ رَاكِبًا. He says, even if he's riding in his camel, and the wahi comes in that way, the camel cannot contain him and hold him. The camel falls on the ground, sits down on the ground, because he cannot hold on his feet, because the Prophet ﷺ will become so heavy up to a level that you cannot even hold it. Zayd ibn Thabit was one day sitting with the Prophet ﷺ side by side, and the thigh of the Prophet ﷺ, his leg was on the thigh of Zayd, and then wahi came. He says, I couldn't hold his thigh. It was heavier than any object possible, up to a level I felt my bones will be smashed. That heavy, the Prophet ﷺ. The number 5th way, أنه يرى الملك في صورته التي خلق عليها. Sometimes he used to see the angel in his original form, the way that Allah created him. فيوحي إليه ما شاء الله أن يوحيه. So he can give him the message and pass the message to him as Allah wished. وهذا وقع له مرتين. But that happened only twice in his life. He saw Jibreel twice in his real angel shape. كما ذكر الله ذلك في سورة النجم. In Surah Al-Najm, in the beginning, it says, what was it? النجم إذا هو ما ضل صاحبه ولقد رآه نزلة أخرى. So he saw him in another time, second time. Number 6, ما أوحاه الله إليه وهو فوق السماوات ليل المعراج من فرض صلاة وغيره. The 6th way was the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has gave him the message without any wasita, without any connection, straightforward. Like that night, the Prophet ﷺ was taken up in Laylat al-Mi'raj, and he went to the 7th heaven, and he passes, in Surah Al-Najm talks about it, same thing. He goes to the limit of Jibreel, and Jibreel says, this is my limit, I cannot cross this limit, you can cross because you are allowed to cross. Allah said, let him cross. So he went in, and he went to beside the tree, maybe Firdaus al-A'la. It's عندها جنة المأوى. عند سدرة المنتهى عندها جنة المأوى. He went closer to the tree, and by the tree there is Jannatul Mawa. He says, he went there, there is no Jibreel with him. Jibreel is left behind. And then he was mandated, obligated the 5 prayers that we pray every day. There was no connection between him and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah straightforward gave him that message because of the value of the prayer. The value of the prayer in Islam. It's because it was chosen that way. Now I want to give you commands. All the other commands came down to Prophet ﷺ while he is on earth. But this command was special because the prayer is special among all the other types of worships. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ says, أول ما يحاسب به العبد يوم القيامة الصلاة. The first thing that the person will be taken accountable in the day of judgment was the prayer. And if his prayer, فإذا صلحت صلح سائر عمله. If the prayer passes the test, the rest of a'mal will be passed for him. Even if they fail, it will be made him passed. But if the salah fails, the rest will fail. Even if they are intact, all of them are 100% perfect, they will all fail together, and a person will go to the hellfire. That's why you need to keep up with those 5 prayers. No matter what happens. No matter what happens in your life, keep up that 5 prayers. And you make sure you have those 5 prayers in your life, in your day and night. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be good to you. Those 5 prayers were obligated from the heaven. There's a long qissa. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, Allah obligated 50 prayers first. And then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came down. And in the 6th heaven, he met with Musa alayhi salam. Musa. And Musa asked him, what happened? He says, Allah gave me 50 prayers a day. He says, go back. You can't do it. Your ummah will not be able to do it. 5 prayers is even tough for many people. He says, go back. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reduce it. He comes back to Allah. One riwayah says, it was made half, 25. And then he comes back, he's happy, delighted, 25, half, 50% off. And he comes back to Musa and he says, no, go back. He gives him a wisdom, real wisdom. He says, go back, ask Allah to relieve you from it. He comes back, it was relieved. Some riwayah says 12, and some riwayah says no, straight to 5. And this time, Allah says 5, that equals to 50. You get the rewards of 50 prayers. And that hadith is also supported by the Quran. Man ja'a bil hasanati falahu ashru amthaliha. Anyone that comes up with a goodness, any good deed, it will be multiplied by 10. So 5 times 10, 50. So now you have 5 prayers, but the recording, the ajr, the rewards involved are 50. And the ummah, this ummah is the lifespan of this nation that live right now is only short. It's less than 100. Let's say 60, 70, 80s. That is the average lifespan of the people. Just individualists, few individualists, extraordinary people will go past that. But most of the people will expire below 70 or 80. So if you count how many times you can pray and compare that to how many times did the nations before us pray. Remember the time of Noah alayhi salam. Noah, he was preacher 950 years. And he lived more than that. And there were people older than him. Some people Adam was 1,000. Noah was maybe 1,000 plus. Many of them, they passed 1,100, 1,200. So how many days they could pray? And how many times they could pray? And how many worships they could make? That, compared to what we have, it's nothing. It's nothing. So Allah gave us a boost, a bonus. Whenever you do something, Allah will multiply it by 10. You do good thing. If you give charity, this deen is deen of charity, by the way. Islam is nothing but charity, being good to people, being generous to people, taking care of the poor, helping them out. And it was sad to see refugees from Syria walking all the way to Europe, passing by Mecca. You remember the statement of Angela Merkel? They said they passed Mecca, which was closer to them, and they came to us. That's the message that we will pass down to our children, is what she said. That's a killing statement. Shame on those leaders. Shame on Saudi and all the Muslim leaders. Their people are suffering, and they are expecting other people to take care of them. And, thank you to Angela Merkel and everyone that stepped up and took care of our people, while we failed to take care of them. This is what's happening in the Islamic world. 1.8 billion Muslims live in this world, and they cannot take care of few millions of them. This religion is nothing but religion of charity and gift and sadaqah. And it's one of the pillars of Islam is to give sadaqah, charity. It's not optional, it's obligation. If you have money and that money stayed with you in 1 year, you have to give it portion of it, 2.5% if it's money or gold. 2.5% of that money has to go to the poor, the needy people. This is the religion of gift. And yet, many people, they don't even count sadaqah into their lives. It's not part of it. When you earn some money, you have to have the mentality of giving some of that to the needy people, so you can take care of your people. This is religion that takes care of the public fundings or what they call welfare, was first introduced by Islam. If you are poor and you cannot make money, you used to go to the Bayt al-Mal, is what they used to go. All the charity were collected and brought to the welfare office, and poor people will come there and they will be given money every month. Islam was the one that introduced 1400 years ago. Today, in Saudi Arabia, the richest country on earth, every street, people are begging. And no one cares about it. They're not counted. They don't have any amount coming from the government because they are poor. Sometimes they even don't want to see the government. They're hiding from them because they don't have status to stay there. This is what it is. Islam is now upside down, and that's why we see Muslims are not regarded much. Although they are quarter of the whole world, anyone can bother them, bash them, say whatever they want about them, and can get away with it. It's simple, it's easy. This is because they don't even exist in the eyes of people. They are remember we started this lecture and the message of Islam started with Allah ordering us to study, to learn how to read and how to write. Iqra. Allah is ordering us to learn how to read. That means what? You need to be educated. If you are a Muslim, you have to be educated. That's why I tell everybody every day, go to school, study, know something. I don't care what, but know something, whatever you like. If you like computer, know it. If you like business, know it. If you like money, know it. If you like accounting, if you like engineering, doctor, just know something. Don't be that ignorant, sitting in the society and dragging the society down. Be someone that will be that can sustain himself and his family. When you can sustain yourself, you can sustain others. You can support others. But if you are in jeopardy, if your life is in jeopardy, you cannot sustain anybody. You cannot even sustain yourself, let alone anyone else. So focus on that, study, learn. The other way that number six way of the wahy that used to come number 7 is kalamullah lahu minhu ilayhi bila wasitati malakin kama kallama Allah Musa ibn Imran. It's that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sometimes communicated with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in an equal way that he communicated with Musa ibn Imran. Allah is communicating with him without any wasita, without any connection in between. There is no Jibreel. Again, another way. While he is on earth, not only when he was at the heaven, another times it was happening while he is here on the ground. وهو المرتبط هي الثابتة لموسى قطعا بنص القرآن وثبوتها لنبينا صلى الله عليه وسلم وفي حديث الإسراء. This hadith that we just mentioned, there is no doubt that Allah has spoken with Musa alayhi salam. There is no doubt about it. And anyone who has a doubt that Musa was spoken by God is considered non-Muslim, like kafir. You lose your religion and faith if you have a doubt about that. Allah spoke with him, and it's in the Quran. It says, وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهُ مُوسَى تَكْلِيمًا. Allah has indeed spoken with Musa, speaking. Real speaking happened between him and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this hadith, is it the same way? Is it a different way? Is it, Allah only knows, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not mention it in details. The other way, number 8, there's a lot of dispute among the scholars. They say he spoke equally. Sometimes Allah communicates with you in different ways without even talking to you, straightforward, like he did with Musa. So that communication took place with the Prophet ﷺ, especially in the Isra wal Mi'raj, when the 5 prayers were obligated upon him. It happened sometimes on earth. But this time, they say, some scholars say, it happened also that Allah has spoken with Prophet Muhammad like He did sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like He did with Musa alayhi salam. But that is under heavy dispute. And Aisha says, anyone who tells you that Allah spoke with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam speaking, don't even have a doubt that they are liars. Ibn Abbas says, on the other hand, sorry. She says, anyone who claims that the Prophet Muhammad saw Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a liar. And Ibn Abbas says he did see him. So you see the dispute. But the most qualified way, the rajih one, the strong side of the two, is that he did not see by eyes. And no one saw him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, on this earth. Everybody will see him in the heaven when they die and they go to the Jannah. That is the 8 parts, and we will stop inshallah right there. Sallallahu alaihi wa sallam ala sayyidina Muhammad wa alihi wa sallam.